Okay, so today we did something that's a little bit different. The recruiter for the nurse on the Atlas Life isn't here with me. He's in Florida, Mr. Bob Hingst.
Hello, all.
So Bob, how long have you been a recruiter now with us?
I've been going on about 4 years now.
4 years recruiting for us. Now, and it'll be unique. You can kind of see Patty in the background over there. She'll be on in just a minute. This is kind of unique because not only are you Patty's recruiter, you're also married to her.
Yes, I am.
Talk about that.
It's a labor of love, I guess you could say, in many ways. But a couple years back, I was just approached from Rich and Steve about taking Patty on, as she was with another recruiter that was going out for Atlas, and had a little bit of hesitation about it, but it's really turned out well. And Patty is really a huge help for me. Because I'm able to see the other side of the story. For years before I got into the recruiting, I would sit and listen to her talk with other nurses and hear all their stories, and got a lot of insight about what actually happens on the floor, the good and the bad. And it was just something that really opened my mind to the whole nursing recruiting business.
So she really has been an asset to your career as a recruiter then.
Absolutely, because again, with the knowledge that she has as a travel ICU, CVICU nurse, and then her ability to glean all the information that she sees online, talking with people and having conversations, helping them out, has really been a very big help to me.
Excellent. All right, Bob, thank you so much. So Patty Hingst, welcome to the Atlas Life. Patty Hingst, you've been a travel nurse now for how long?
Just over 5 years.
Just over 5 years. So, and we met for the first time at TravCon. Gosh, how long?
Yeah, I think it was Vegas. My second TravCon.
Yep.
But it was the first one I met you at. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, and then we kind of met through Bob, right? I mean, that's how it all kind of took place.
Right.
So, and then it was kind of history after that. So Tell me, why did you start traveling in the first place?
I just had I'd worked 20 years in the ICU. I'd been in Florida for almost 30 years at that time. Prior to moving to Florida, I had always traveled all over and I really missed it. Just wanted to get back on the road. Wanted to see places. You only have this little window that you live in, and
right.
My window was getting smaller, so I'm like, let's do this. So Bob was willing to jump on board and go with me, which is huge. I know a lot of people, I see the question a lot, what does your spouse do? It's like whatever they can find to do, or sometimes they just take care of you, and he was so willing. That's a lot to ask of someone to give up their career and stuff and go on the road with you.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I think it's very important that Bob has, before he was a recruiter, he was traveling with you on the road. You're in your RV, right? I mean, that's a big part of what you do, and we'll talk about that here in a minute too.
Right.
But Bob he found a number of jobs when you guys first started out, right?
Right. Well, we kind of pre-planned going on the road, and he actually went to massage therapy school, became a licensed massage therapist, and he would work doing that on the road. So not only do I have a recruiter, I have a massage therapist that travels with me. But and it wasn't easy because no place ever wants to hear that you're only going to be there for 3 months. But that was actually one of the occupations that they were kind of willing to do that with. But we actually traveled for 2 years without the RV first. And then because housing is such a nightmare, we decided to give the RV thing a shot, and we love it. Haven't turned back since.
And at one point, when you first got the RV, he was a camp host. Is that correct?
Yes, that was the other thing that he did, because we found out, having the RV, that you could apply to work as a camp host at the campground you were going to stay at, and you would get your spot for free. and you could do it 3 months the whole time we were doing it, or you could extend, or you could do it shorter. And it's only like, they only require like 20 hours a week of your time. And he probably had more fun doing that, I think, than anything else he's done, because him and the other camp hosts would be riding around on their four-wheelers and blowing leaves, and I'd come home and already had beer 30. You know, I mean,
Yep.
he had a lot of fun. It was kind of like camp for the hosts, I think.
That sounds really cool. Like I mean, we do a lot of camping, right? That's something we had in common, you know, in the beginning. And I thought that's a really unique idea that, you know, if you're traveling with a spouse, something for them to do that would really help out with those housing costs.
It takes a little pre-planning. And the best part about it is when he did that, we were in DC area, and it's almost impossible to find a good campground around DC that takes you long term.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do camp hosting at a state park, you can stay as long as you're a camp host.
Oh.
So it's for all those RVers out there, kind of pre-plan a little bit, you know, find a hospital near, you know, state parks and see if you can work the deals out. So
yep.
It's doable.
Excellent. So we've talked about the RV thing a little bit. Clearly you're traveling in your RV, you're in Florida right now. There's an event coming up. By the time this airs on Monday, this event will have already taken place. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yes, we're so excited. Florida becomes a compact state today. So tonight, there's a bunch of us travel nurses that were talking online on one of the Florida sites that we just want to get together and celebrate the Florida Compact, because Florida's not known for, you know, the best ratios and things. So us Florida nurses have always had to buy licenses in every single state. I think I have 13. Ooh. And it's expensive. It's really expensive. You have to choose which ones you're going to keep up and maintain. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to probably go down to about 4: California, Oregon, Nevada, just the ones that aren't going to be compact. And we can go 29 states now, I believe, because New Mexico is passing it, so it'll be 29. And
it sounds like as of this recording, it sounds like that's going to happen for New Mexico too.
Yes, I'm really
which is fantastic. Like, this is the way it really should have been, that we've all kind of talked about for years and years. And now it's just like, it's happening all of a sudden, right? Like this is all just kind of falling into place. And I think it's great for the industry.
Yeah, we're so excited down here. That's why we decided to have a party. And everybody I talked to that's planning on coming tonight, we just, I don't know, I guess if you've always been compact, you probably wouldn't understand. But those of us that are just coming into it are so excited. Yeah, it's going to be crazy good. Now I can go anywhere.
That's
We're
awesome.
heading into England, I think.
Florida was always tough for us. Like, from an agency standpoint, Florida was tough.
It is. It's tough to sell because it's known for high ratios and not the best pay. Mm-hmm. So this might get a lot easier for people that don't have to get it's an expensive license to get too. And it's a hard license to get. They make you jump through all kinds of hoops. So it'll open the doors for a lot of people to come down here and maybe be okay with the lower pay, because they're going to have some great beaches. You cannot beat the beaches down here. So sometimes it's worth it, the trade-off.
I think it's totally worth it for the beaches. Yeah. You're on one of the best beaches in all of Florida, in my opinion.
It may be freezing cold today. It is so cold here today, but next week it might be up to 80. So it's worth it to come down here for the winter.
You Floridans are freezing cold. Come on. What's the temperature today? 55?
Well, it got down in the 30s last night. So it's going to get up to 58 tonight. We'll all be freezing at our celebration because I planned it outside thinking it was going to be a really nice day. Sure.
No, I would die for 50s right now, quite honestly.
I'm sure. I've seen the weather out there. It looks pretty rabid out there.
Yeah, that's the time of year though. It's the time of year. So tell me, through all of this, the RV and being married to a recruiter and all of that, like, what is, in your opinion, what's the best part of being a travel nurse?
I think there's two best parts. Of course, the best part is being able to go places and see things that you're almost getting paid to vacation somewhere. We've been to California, Oregon. We've been to Alaska. We were there for 8 months. It's our top one, I'm sure. The second best part is I don't have to get involved in the politics. Mm-hmm. That's like the worst part of being a nurse, is the politics, the meetings, the groups they throw you on. those kind of things. And I don't have to deal with that anymore. I just show up and take care of my patients, clock out, and, go see the sites. That's pretty
Awesome.
much.
So then I guess what's the hardest part then?
The hardest part is being away from family. I think when we come down here, we're near family, but then we're away from Bob's family. So that's hard. Probably those first couple weeks when you're breaking in a new hospital, it's rough. You're not sure if you're going to make it. You don't know where anything is. Nobody's being nice to you. But about that third week, everything starts changing. It gets better. So I think we don't have to deal with housing anymore. That used to be the hardest part for us. So with the RV, we haven't had any problems finding a place. So
awesome. So this is a fun question, and I love this question because it's one of the things that I like to do when I get out and see different places and stuff. Tell me about, and this could be food or drink, tell me about the best place like you've ever had, like the best food you've ever had on the road.
Best food we've ever had on the road, probably Alaska. We were in Alaska, and Bob was working at the Massage Envy up there, and his boss gave him a caribou roast.
Oh.
We didn't know what to do with, so we just kind of cooked it up in the oven, and we pulled it out, and we're like, well, let's just taste this thing. And we both started like taking bites of it, and within about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, we'd eaten the whole thing. It was so good. It was so good. I think the food we had in Alaska, the halibut, fresh halibut and salmon, all that stuff was probably the best we've ever eaten.
I'd agree. My family and I went there just not too long ago, and the seafood up there is unbelievable. The fish was unbelievable.
Yeah, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
All right, so then we share a common interest, right? We share, and this came up last week too, and with the Jake's duo that I interviewed, breweries. You both like going to that. Talk to me about that. Like, where was like the best one you've ever been to?
Oh gosh, that's tough. The best one we've ever been to.
And if you say Russian River in California.
Oh, Rare Barrel. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
The Rare Barrel in Berkeley, California. Those were probably the best beers that we've had. We look the way we do because we like craft beer. It's a meal in a glass. And we hit quite a few of them up in Alaska. There's some great breweries up there. Oregon has fantastic breweries. And we did hit Russian River, which was fun. And I stood in line for an hour for you, just so you know. That's another thing you owe me for.
I still appreciate that to this day. Thank you.
Oh, that's okay. But the Rare Barrel, hands down, was probably the best. Yeah.
And I still have one of those left too, as well. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been rationing those. I save those. That stuff's pretty special.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. So then, last question, and I love this question. What lesson through all of this, through your entire traveling career, has taken you the longest to learn?
Oh wow. Let me think about that. Probably. I'm really bad about not leaving enough time in between my assignments to enjoy the trip. So I have a tendency to start sometimes planning too early for my next assignment, and I line that next one up and give myself only a week to travel to the next one. And I'll be traveling through some great country, and I'm just barreling through because we've got to get there. That's probably, and I still, even the last time we traveled, we still did it to ourselves again. Yeah. So that's probably the hardest thing for me. I don't have a problem with the nursing part of it or that kind of stuff, but the traveling part of it, sometimes we don't get down really well.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, because you get so hyper focused on the journey and making sure you've got that next contract lined up that I could see that.
Yeah, you start focusing on the next place about 4 weeks away, still in your last contract. And I think you lose time going to see some more sites where you're at, and then you forget about the journey there and all the cool places you could see on the way. I think people need to plan that time in between. I'm going to try and get better at that.
To really enjoy that piece too. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Patty Hingst, thank you so much. I was so happy to have you on the Atlas Life today. That's That was great. Even at short notice, I really do appreciate you being on today. So everyone, you could follow her. She's the Tin Gypsy on Instagram. Is that correct? Is that the,
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
search Tin Gypsy on Instagram. You'll find her on there. You'll find her on Facebook all the time. She's a great resource, answering questions. Completely doesn't matter who her husband is. She's always been very how do you want to say, like non-denominational?
Switzerland. I try and be Switzerland. I try and support both sides of the industry at the same time. I have no problem calling out both sides of the industry. I think some people think I don't, but I do. But yeah, I just try and show, because not every travel nurse has the benefit of seeing the other side of the industry. So I try and show a little more of that. You've allowed me to say some things out there that maybe, is not, most companies won't allow out there. So I appreciate that, because, that you've kind of let me open the doors a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. That quite honestly, that's what it all comes down to is,
transparency.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Patty, thank you so much. So keep up the good work, and we'll see you out there on the road.
Great. See you, Rich.
See ya.
Bye.